This is the first art change tonight, right? Projected up on the screen above me is a picture of a man I've never met. His name is Chadwick Ashley Freeman Presley, but he just went by Chad. I never met Chad, and I didn't know him in my life, but this I know for sure. I've never known someone so well after their death. No person has impacted my life after his death as much as Chad. And I'll go out on a limb here. I actually know Chad as my guardian angel. You see, Chad was best friends with my husband Bronson, and they bar hopped together. They watched Greco-Roman wrestling at the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta together. And Chad used to point out the blonde wrestlers and turn to Bronson and smack his gum and say, "Cowboy, I bet that big blonde boy over there is wearing you out." Chad was essentially Bronson's little brother. The two of them were inseparable, and Chad was the consummate Southern gentleman, always well-dressed, reddish blonde locks, ruddy skin, witty, but also wise. He was a giant of a man, standing over 6 feet tall, and perhaps most beautiful, the size of his heart. I know dozens of people who knew Chad today, and all of them still reminisce with fondness at Chad's big guffaw of a laugh and the Southern drawl that became more Southern with every beer he'd swill at any bar he'd swagger into. 8 years ago, in 1999, 2 weeks before his 30th birthday, and 6 days before Mother's Day, Chad contracted pneumonia and died. Nobody even knew he was HIV positive. Not even Chad knew for sure. Next week, I'll celebrate my 33rd birthday. And like being alive, I think Chad is one of the reasons that I'm here. After being diagnosed with HIV 4 years ago, my life was pretty much a mess. I remember getting my test results, and then I remember telling the news to my friend Paul, and the disbelief and concern that crossed over his face. He wisely told me that I was at a crossroads in my life. He said, I could either assume the opportunity from the universe and really take care of my body and my mind and my spirit, or I could continue along the path that I set out for myself. But I was 29, so what did I do? Instead of taking his advice, I moved to Tampa, and I was desperate to escape my fate. And it was down in Florida that I learned the truth of that saying, wherever you go, there you are. My health kept getting worse. My T cells were plummeting. My viral load was in the hundreds of thousands. And the guy that I had fallen in love with in Florida, my friends joke, was like that Britney Spears song, Toxic. And the all-night partying sure wasn't helping. Looking back at it now, it's at that point I feel Chad first entered my life. I suddenly felt strongly compelled to move back to Los Angeles. And I joke now with Bronson that Chad he knew that we were perfect for each other, so he picked me up like a kitten by the neck and set me gently back down at home in LA. It's about then that Bart Stevens and being alive first came into my life. And I'm here tonight to tell you that if it weren't for being alive, and if it weren't for several people in this room, I, like Chad, might not have made it. I'm no stranger to hard living. I'm well accustomed to life on both sides of the railroad tracks. I've dined with the porn stars and the prostitutes. Hell, I've even been both of them. I'm a recovering Catholic and I'm an ex-Mormon. So I don't exactly consider myself a Christian, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that along the way there have been some good Samaritans. Some of them are here tonight. Connie Van Dyke, John Balma, Lucy Mardanovich, Daphne Lewis, Bart Stevens, Guy Beck, Diane Corman, Frank Sanchez, Guy Beck, I'll mention again if I didn't mention him already, and my best friend Paul Horn, who's not here, but my husband Bronson Page is. And each of these Good Samaritans has seen me in a time of my most dire need, and each of them did not pass me by. Each of these people believed in the man I was trying to become, the man who stands here now on this stage tonight, and each of them instilled me a spirit of hope. So here I am. I'm indeed blessed and lucky to be alive and standing in celebration for these Good Samaritans. But not only those people who have crossed my path, but also those people who have undoubtedly crossed yours. I stand with gratitude for the Franks, the Barts, the Pauls, the Bronsons, and for the Chads. The real Chad tragedy is, Chad didn't have to die. It was 1999, and the big difference between the trajectory of Chad's life and mine is what we are here to honor and support tonight, being alive. What if there had been an agency like this in Chad's life?
Instead of ignoring his sudden weight loss, what if he had gone for a routine HIV test? What if there had been a Bart Stevens who sought him out and gave him a business card and a friendly smile and told him what being alive had to offer? What if there had been a net like being alive to catch his fall? If my guardian angel were here with us tonight, and I know he is, he'd be smiling. He knows that his joy and zeal for life has touched me and in hopefully some small way moved or inspired you. And that is what tonight is all about. To remind us that the spirit of Chad, or anyone that we have loved and lost, their love, their joy, their hope is alive. And nothing, not even death, can take that away from us. In my life, I've ventured far from home to the land where the wild things are. But one day, the king of all wild things was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. So I gave up being king of where the wild things are. I sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day to a whole new group of wild things. You people. And my bed was still warm and my supper was still hot. And you, my friends, my family, welcome me back with open arms. It's really good to be back home again.